One of the things that's really driving it is the aging population we've got. My prediction is that estate planning and probate work is going to just explode in the next 3 decades. And the demographics are there. I mean, the number of people that are dying, there's 79 million baby boomers moving into their retirement, and ultimately their incapacity and mortality. Their parents are in the same situation. Interestingly, the fastest growing demographic group in the country is 85 and above, which means there's a lot of planning at that level that needs to be done, in many cases not being done, and as a consequence the probate work gets that much more complicated. According to a lawyers.com study in 2009, 35% of Americans have a will and the rest of them don't. The numbers for medical directives and general powers of attorney is about 29%. And so you have family members trying to make decisions and having to go into guardianship and custodial situations that just are complex and create conflict. The most significant tax change that's occurred probably in the last 3 decades is a shift from planning being on the estate tax side to planning being on the income tax side. And in particular, it is a movement towards tax basis planning driving our planning, as opposed to trying to avoid an estate tax. An example of that would be the 2704 regs that were adopted on or proposed on August 4th of this year. Those regs are a dramatic change in how interfamily business transfers will occur, basically by eliminating virtually all discounts on interfamily business transfers. The interesting thing about even that, and this is some of the unintended consequences that come out of these things, is with only roughly 0.2% of estates being subject to a federal estate tax, to a large degree these rules may actually help us from a planning standpoint, because if dad dies with a 30% interest in the family business, normally there would have been a discount applied for his lack of marketability minority interest. Well, according to these new regs, if they finally get adopted, we are not allowed to use that discount. We actually have to go to a full enterprise value times 30%, which means we've got a higher value for dad's interest in the estate. And also, if the interest in that business is something like an LLC or a partnership, we get to step up the basis of the assets inside of it and start redepreciating those assets. So the strange environment that we're in today is that many of the things we've done for decades no longer apply, but we're now adopting new methodologies designed to escape tax. One of the unintended consequences of the high exemptions is the fact we've been going in and trying to raise the basis of assets. What Congress really didn't address when they increased the estate tax exemption was the fact these higher bases allow us to reduce capital gains when family assets are sold after a death, and allows us to redepreciate assets in many cases that are inside LLCs, partnerships, or individually owned. So there's actually a significant increase not only in estate tax revenue, but income tax revenue. I believe there is a decent possibility that we may see in the future an elimination of the estate tax entirely, or at least even higher exemptions where we are right now. But in return, go to some sort of modified step-up in basis as opposed to step up to full fair market, modified carryover basis, as opposed to the environment we have that when someone dies, we get a full step-up in basis to fair market value. If that occurs, it would actually raise more revenue and eliminate some of this loss of capital gains and ordinary income from being able to increase the basis. I think we'll see something like that coming out in the near term. Even the Republicans are recognizing that there's an adverse effect of these high numbers, and it's all about step up in basis. One of the biggest areas that CPAs have really got to focus their attention on is the income taxation of estates and trusts. At $12,400 of taxable income inside an estate or trust, you are paying income taxes at the top applicable rate, approaching 50% on a state and federal basis. The problem is a significant group of attorneys and CPAs don't really understand the income taxation of estates and trusts. And there's a lot of nuances, there's a lot of ways that you can trip up on problems. It may be that one of the things that is good is the IRS probably understands it less well than we do. That's not going to last forever. I think that's a future significant area of focus and audit by the Internal Revenue Service. It's inevitable, and it will be a significant place for them to raise revenue fairly quickly and fairly easily.